Welcome back to Hardball. We've heard a lot of grumbling lately. The Democrats aren't quite as enthusiastic as Republicans about this year's election. Well, a new Washington Post ABC News poll finds otherwise. 76% of people who plan to vote for Democrats in November say they're enthusiastic about that vote. That's compared to 75% on the Republican side. Looks pretty close to me, so it's an even match. But will that enthusiasm on the Democrat side hold up throughout these months coming ahead? MSNBC political analyst Karen Finney is a Democratic strategist and a former communications director for the DNC. And Republican strategist Ron Bonjean is the former spokesman for Trent Lott and House Speaker Denny Hastert. Thank you, Joe. We'll see if you're evenly matched here. Let's look at this new poll that I was just talking about. Here it is. 76% of Democrats who say they're going to vote are enthusiastic about it, same as 75%. That's an interesting number. I want to give you some more numbers now. Here they are. Democrats lead Republicans by 4 points, 48% to 44 on that whole thing of, you know, who's going to control the House? Yeah. That's called the generic vote. 1 out of 4 say their vote in November for the House of Representatives will be support President Obama. 1 out of 4 say it's a vote to oppose Obama, so that's about the same. Overall, half say Obama's not a factor. That's hard to believe. Right now, 36% say it would be a good thing for Republicans to take control of Congress after the election. 34% say it would be bad, but that's not as emphatic as right before the votes in 2006 or 1994. So, Ron, in the past, there's been a lot more dissatisfaction and desire for change before these big pivotal elections than you have now. In 2006, when the Congress went Democrat, people really wanted change. Right. And in 94, when Newt Gingrich, your crowd, came in, really wanted change. Right now, they sort of want change only by 2 points. Is that good for your party? Well, only having a 2-point advantage of people wanting change.
Well, first of all, I would say about the Democrat enthusiasm gap tightening up. It's about time. Democrats got excited about something. For a long time, President Obama wasn't getting anything done. And now he's finally gotten something done, and something the liberal Democratic base likes. And sure, the numbers have lowered a little bit in what you were just talking about, and that makes sense. But what really matters here is what independent voters and conservative Democrats think in the election in some of these key states. The numbers are not translating down to House Democrats who voted for the bill.
Okay, so he's basically dumping on your parade here.
Of course he is. He's also sort of making my point.
Well, okay, your point?
My point being that it is true that if you look at where Democratic enthusiasm was, think about right after the Massachusetts election, it was pretty low. So it is very important, and there was a lot of conversation about how are Democrats going to be able to, you know, turn this thing around. I think we're lucky that that happened early enough in the process that we have turned that around.
To me, I mean, look, what's worse, to be left or weak? For you guys, well, what would you rather run against? Would you rather run against a Democratic Party that's weak and can't get its act together, or a Democratic Party that's further left than you?
I would vote for both.
What's better? What's an easier target?
I would say
weakness or disagreement.
It depends on the situation, but left. I would say left right now, because the centrists.
Why? Because you can't run against weak anymore.
No, because the independents and centrists voted President Obama in office and voted Democrats widely in office.
Independents are still pretty enthusiastic about Democrats,
no. There's a new CBS poll out that says 2 out of 3 independents would like Republicans to fight and to repeal the health care bill.
I think it also says that independents are supportive of Democrats. Look, I think that here's the
everything in the world you guys hate. From civil rights to Medicare to everything. In the mid-'60s, he got elected with 60% of the vote. Jimmy Carter, that is childish. Strong Democrats do better against Republicans than weak Democrats.
And it's good to see the Democrats being strong. The question as to whether or not Democrats will do well in November, I love my party, but having gone through this in 2006, we have to keep it going. We have to continue to show some spine and show that we're going to fight for the things and the promises that we made. I think part of the reason that Democrats are getting a little bit of their mojo back is they're seeing people like success. People like to see you get out there, fight for something, and actually win.
Can I just jump in? In the state of Florida, you just mentioned, there's a poll that just came out that said over 50% of people disagree with the health care reform.
They already have government health care.
60 to 30.
But Ron,
60 to 30
you see the hypocrisy in that statement by those people. Well, they have government-paid health care, Medicare, and they're against anybody else getting it.
I don't question the independents.
Well, no, actually, but the polls also show that
they're not independent. They're getting government-controlled health care.
But 60% of independents in Florida don't support the health care bill.
What do you think of that? But they get health care. Do they want their Medicare?
Well, sure, they don't want the Medicare, and they don't want to see it cut.
But
Absolutely.
The polls are also showing that for those seniors in particular who actually understand what's in the bill, they are supportive. And we know that part of what's happened here is that the Republicans took control of the message last summer, and we've been fighting our way back. Now that we're fighting against the lies and misinformation, and it is a lie to say that there's death panels out there, because we know that's not going to happen. The more we do to educate people about what's actually in the bill, the more they like it.
No, that's okay. I would say the #1 issue that going into the fall is going to be jobs and the economy. Republicans.
Well, you've got this habit of changing the subject. Let's go. You didn't say death panels, at least.
No, I don't
They're not going to be death panels. Or you think there are going to be death panels?
No, but what is coming out in the bill, and you talk about framing the message, is that what Democrats have to do right now over the next 2 weeks is they have to close the sale. They have to convince voters this bill is a good thing. Right now, there are a myriad of stories coming out about increased taxes on businesses, increased taxes on medical device makers.
I notice you're not pushing this Republican argument that somebody cooked up in some latrine somewhere. Replace. You don't have the 2/3 vote in the United States Senate to override a veto of the president, so you don't have any power to repeal in the next 3 years. #2, replace. Since when have the Republicans ever had a health care bill? You guys have never. You've been in power, never had a health care bill.
Well, they did when they supported some of the same ideas a few years ago that they're now saying they don't
want to have a health care bill. You don't believe in it philosophically.
Sure, we believe in health care reform.
When have you ever done it? You've been in power.
Why haven't you guys been in power?
Let me make the question. I asked the question.
We repaired the Medicare.
4 years you had to control. You had a president and both
passed the Medicare prescription drug bill.
That's not a health care reform for the 30 million people uninsured.
But it does lower prescription drug costs, and that is significant.
Where's your national health care bill?
We have a health care bill. There's several health care bills out there supported by Republicans that have, in terms of pooling insurance, tort reform, those kind of things. And you know what? Obama offered sprinkles of health care reform.
And those things. And those things.
And by the way, there was a little hole in that bill that you passed.
Those things. You don't have a bill.
A little hole in the bill you passed.
But if you go back to closing the sale, Democrats haven't done it yet. I mean, if you look at the signature part of Obama's bill in terms of covering children with pre-existing conditions, right now there are caveats to that. If you're a kid and you're already insured and you have a pre-existing condition, then you're covered.
Let me ask you a question.
However, if you're not part of that program, health insurers don't have to insure you.
Let me ask you, how do you marry together? I know politics makes strange bedfellows, but how do you marry together your stiff three-piece suit, stuffy, even Republicanism like Mitch McConnell, with a picture of Bob Dole and Bob Taft on the wall, with these wild almost crazed teabaggers? You have the one stuffed shirt banker types, then you have these populist people out there that don't like those banker types. How do you get them in the same bed?
Economy.
You get them in the same bed.
Jobs. That's how you get them in the bed. That's how you get them working together.
Do you think Mitch McConnell could run a Tea Party rally?
I'll tell you what. There's a lot of energy out there and a lot of synergy out there between congressional leaders and the Tea Partiers right now. Absolutely.
Yeah, what's his name? John Boehner's a real Tea Party type, isn't he? He's a golfer.
Chris, if I may.
He's the opposite of a Tea Party type.
I think you all, the weekend before the health care vote, were actually suggesting that there wasn't so much synergy between the Tea Partiers and the Republican Party. And I think it lays bare the challenge that the Republican Party has is that there is a real fraction within it between, are we going to go to the far right or are we going to be real conservative?
But Karen,
are you saying you're going to align yourself with the far right fringe of your party?
We are aligning ourselves with independents and centrist left Democrats.
Don't support hate speech.
Independents support jobs and creating and growing the economy.
Comments that, like,
we don't. Oh my gosh, we don't support hate speech either. And frankly, there's radical left going after Eric Cantor. I mean, look, it goes both ways. There's a lot of anger out there regarding this bill.
Well, how did the radical left go after Eric Cantor?
No, there was a death threat about him on him today.
Was somebody shooting a bullet in there?
There was a bullet, but then there's another death threat with some YouTube video out there.
The YouTube video, the same guy actually did a YouTube video against Obama, Reid, and Pelosi. So I think he's pretty evenly hates Washington. I think it's safe to say.
Irrespective of that, all that voters care about in the fall is, do they have more money on the table? Do they have their jobs back? Does Washington
and your radical right fringe Tea Partiers are not going to get those things back on the table for them. It's going to be.
Well, they're certainly framing the bill.
I love all these
Democrats.
Republicans that hate Washington but can't wait to get here. Anyway, thank you, Karen Finney. They're dying to get here every year. They love it here. And Ron Bonjean, thank you, sir, for coming here. Up next, which politician donned a hippie wig for a charity this weekend? Where do you see this guy? This is next in the sideshow. He really did look like a guy from Hair. You're watching Hardball on MSNBC.
So that presentation Barry was supposed to give tomorrow is today. Fortunately, he has AT&T's